Government chairman in Rivers State to reduce impact of Federal government says Cameroon dam release will not cause flooding like 2022. Police Commission directs 4 DIGs to proceed on compulsory retirement. President Tinubu stops officials with no direct UN summit participation from traveling. On the foreign scene, France defies ultimatum for ambassador to leave Niger. I am Constance Mega with the news. As Nigeria prepares to experience another flooding this year, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in Rivers State is urging local government councils to take proactive measures to reduce the impact of the predicted flooding in their areas. It follows plans to reopen the Cameroon Lagdo Dam. NEMA Zonal Coordinator Godwin Tepiko, in an interview with correspondent Martha Okere, asked local government councils to build drainage and IDP camps for areas that may be affected.
The local government has started doing something, but they need to intensify their efforts. They make sure the camps are set up early, make sure that drainages and waterways are cleared. They also make sure that they also pre-position relief materials. The persons that will be displaced, their livelihood will be disrupted, so they will need some form of relief assistance. So they should also begin to work with other critical stakeholders to ensure that the response is swift as much as possible.
Mr. Godwin said the agency is working with critical stakeholders to ensure that the release does not cause so much havoc.
NEMA, in collaboration with TEMA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, they are going around to sensitize the local government and to advise them on what support services they need to put in place. The provision has come, following from what has happened in the past. The provisions are real, and Cameroon has informed the Nigerian government that they open the Lagdo Dam. So it means that the flooding and all hands must be on deck to ensure that we mitigate the impact of this flooding.
Recall that NEMA says it is working to ensure the water from the Cameroon Lagdo Dam will not cause much negative impact on the low-lying communities along the states that would be affected. NEMA spokesperson Ezekiel Manzo, in a statement, listed the states likely to be affected to include Rivers, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Anambra, Enugu, Edo, Delta, and Bayelsa. Mr. Manzo said that NEMA expected this release of excess water from the Lagdo Dam and had taken note of the likely impacts and considered them in the preparations for mitigation and response to the 2023 flood alert. Also, the Minister of State for Environment, Isiaq Salako, says the opening of Cameroon's Lagdo Dam will not cause as much flooding as it did last year. Dr. Salako, in an interview with newsmen, said that there has been an approach to building another dam in Adamawa State so it can hold off the water from the Cameroon Dam. In the meantime, some residents around a canal at Amechi Drive in GRA Phase 3 of Port Harcourt say they are worried over the constant flooding experienced in the area on rainy days. Our correspondent, who visited the area, reports that grasses and plastics have taken over the canal, obstructing free water flow. While residents are now calling for urgent government attention as flooding prevents both pedestrian and vehicular movements.
Whenever it rains, just a little downpour, this Amechi road will be flooded to the point that cars submerged almost to the engine level. Sometimes we lose a lot of things, number plates. You have to go to the mechanic each time you pass by this road when it rains.
Even little children that used to school here could not find it easy to cross here because of the rate of the water. There is a lot of things that block the gutter. The water is not flowing.
Our correspondents gathered that the canal was last cleaned in 2021. While speaking on this, a public affairs commentator, Olale Koigi, says residents should also refrain from dumping wastes into drainages. He also urged the government to clean up the canals in the state.
It's not just about government alone. As residents, we should also be responsible enough not to drop debris into the drain. We should not pour waste into the drain. Government has made receptacles available for residents to drop their waste where service providers are meant to come and evacuate them. So a greater responsibility falls on the government, local, state, and federal government of Nigeria to ensure that, look, we're able to clear, the pathway through which water should pass and drain into the bigger oceans.
In a related development, some residents of Oyibo West, Oyibo local government area of Rivers State, are worried over recent flood warnings by NEMA. Some of them, in an interview with our correspondent, called on the Rivers State government and the Oyibo Local Government Council to be proactive in constructing drainages and ensuring early evacuation of residents from the area. They say flood has destroyed their properties.
When rain fall na no-go area. We for Oyibo West dem just abandon us. All the road projects, we no see anyone. Plenty people don pack comot because of wetin happen here last year and last 2 years. People lose properties.
Well, as you may know, Graceland Avenue and Poultry Road in Oyibo West are always flooded when it rains. Away from that, an artisan, Gian Olie, has narrated how his car was stolen at a popular mall on Aba Road, Port Harcourt, a month ago. Speaking with correspondent Emeka Otuka, Mr. Olie expressed concerns regarding the security personnel's reliability. He said his silver Toyota Corolla, which he parked at the parking lot, went missing after he returned from shopping inside the mall on the 9th of July. Now, he said he approached the security personnel there, but he got a discouraging response.
I drove into the Garden City Mall. We went to buy some provisions. We didn't spend up to 40 minutes. We came outside, and to my greatest surprise, the car that I parked inside their premises, not outside their premises, was nowhere to be found. The security officers, which were the ones that directed me where to park when I first alighted, were acting all naive, like they don't know what is happening. I took the matter up with the police, made a report that night at exactly 12 p.m. in the night at the headquarters. They made a dispatch call to all their outlets, but as I speak to you, from that day till now, nothing has been done.
Mr. Olie said CCTV footage showed the thief driving against traffic within the mall's premises.
I started shouting before they now showed me the CCTV camera. The CCTV footage showed a man driving the said car through the entrance that I came in. The security man on duty was not on his post at that exact point when the person was driving. Prior to this, they don't even give stars to park inside their premises. They just say that people who park there are at owner's risk. I said, what essence is it that somebody will drive into your premises and still use the same entrance to come out? There's an entrance point and there's an exit point. At least that would have maybe helped check the person who was to steal my car.
Well, he also appealed to the Garden City Mall management for help, noting that the car is essential for his livelihood.
I want the Garden City people to do something to discuss moving around and showing for people. Rent is due, I have hardly move around, so it's been very difficult. 3 to 5 customers, I can only maybe achieve 1 or 2 because of the movement around. Transport is very, very expensive.
Well, in response, the Chief Security Officer of the mall, Joseph Anthony, said they can hold responsible for any stolen vehicles in the parking lot.
Normally, in our mall, we based around the car park and we don't give in our mall, all around the mall, car park. And came around something and met the management. Although I don't know what the management has discussed, but for me, I don't know what.
Well, the Rivers State Police Command is yet to speak on this. Moving on, the Police Service Commission has had 4 Deputy Inspectors General of Police to proceed on compulsory retirement. Edges will retire following their colleague Olukayode with Inspector General of Police. The affected officers include Dan Malam Mohammed, Moses Jitibo, Hafiz Inuwa, and Adeleke Bode. The spokesperson for the commission also said the PSC, however, approved the appointment of 4 Assistant Inspectors General of Police. President Bola Tinubu has barred all government officials without proof of direct involvement in the United Nations General Assembly in New York from attending. A statement from the presidency directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to stop processing the visas of officials who are not placed on the protocol lists forwarded by the approving authority. The directive also mandated all federal ministries, departments, and agencies to strictly limit the number of aides and associates joining their principals who are approved to represent Nigeria in the UN event. Well, as you may know, citizens have been calling for a reduction in the cost of governance in Nigeria, especially following the economic hardship from the subsidy removal. While reacting to this, an analyst, Andy Akpotive, says if the federal government wanted to cut cost of governance, it would have started from cutting down on the number of ministers appointed.
A government that is interested in running lean
in the hand of government, the government will just give you figures to retire this money. If this money will get it down to the people, the best approach to this is to share this money to various units. If this money is shared unit by unit, it will get to the people directly involved.
If you look at how the hardship has regenerated into, you'll agree with me that this money should be injected into the agricultural sector. A custard of Gari that used to be sold for 500 naira, 600 naira, 650, now is 1,500 naira. Look at other things in the market. Everything, they are very expensive as a result of this subsidy removal.
They will not take it among the loyalists.
Well, recall that the federal government on 17th August approved the distribution of 5 billion naira to the 36 states and the FCT. 5 trucks of rice each were also approved. And this is to improve food supply across the country due to the subsidy removal. Still to come, President Tinubu tasks new ministers on hard work in first FEC meeting. Stay tuned.
A clean surrounding is a collective effort. Disease.
Challenges associated with family members accessing the dead relative. The privately sponsored bill tagged River State Administration of Estates Small Estate Payment Exemption Bill 2023 has passed second reading on the floor of the House. But Speaker of the House, Martin Amewule, sent the bill to a committee set up to look into it. On his part, the lawmaker and leader of the Assembly, Edison Ehie, who sponsored the bill, said when the bill becomes law, it will enable deceased family members to request a certificate to access the estate of their loved ones and solve the difficulties always encountered during documentation.
This bill will now waive the associated expenses that have to do with filing fees of court, attorney payment, executional compensation, and all that is required for the settlement of the estate of the deceased.
Correspondent Suibi Oruwari reports that the House later adjourned plenary to Wednesday this week. In business, President Bola Tinubu has charged his cabinet to work hard and be committed to creating a strong economy that will serve every Nigerian. The president said this today during his opening remarks at the inaugural Federal Executive Council meeting at the State House in Abuja. Well, the president restated his government's policy agenda, which include reforming the economy to deliver sustainable and inclusive growth and strengthen national security for peace and prosperity. While the recently inaugurated ministers were present at the first FEC meeting. In entertainment, the Nigerian Official Selection Committee for the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences has called on Nigerian filmmakers to submit their feature films for consideration in the International Feature Film category of the 96th Annual Academy Awards, Oscars. But newly appointed chairperson of the committee, Stephanie Linus, made this known in a statement. And in sports, Spain's top criminal court has opened a preliminary investigation into the country's Football Federation president, Luis Rubiales, after he kissed player Jenny Hermoso on the lips. The prosecutors are looking into whether the incident amounts to a crime of sexual assault. Well, Hermoso said the kiss was not consensual.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Friday, President Emmanuel Macron made this known in a speech today. Ambassador Ite had been ordered to go and meet the ambassador for staying put. Well, recall that the junta overthrew Niger's elected president last month. And that's the news, but before we go, take a look at the top stories. On the news this evening, you heard that NEMA has asked local government chairmen in River State to intensify efforts to reduce the impact of predicted flood. Residents are calling for urgent action over blocked canal in GRA Phase 3 of Port Harcourt. The federal government says the Cameroon Dam release will not cause flooding like 2022. And the Service Commission has directed 4 DIGs to proceed on compulsory retirement. President Bola Tinubu has stopped officials with no direct UN summit's participation from traveling. On the foreign scene, France has defied the ultimatum for its ambassador to leave Niger. The news was edited by Martha Okerenkem. Cloudy weather expected in Port Harcourt this evening. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening.